The sitting guard is one of the most fundamental guards in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. Having a solid understanding of its fundamental concepts such as proper positioning, basic movement, and fundamental guard protection will give you a strong tool to rely on. The fundamental ideal position for the sitting guard is to have your elbows inside your legs. This helps protect against underhooks. Also, trying to keep your shoulders in line with your knees will help you keep a solid base as well, along with having your head up and a slight shoulder shrug, which will help protect against neck and head attacks. When you have the sitting guard, you don't have to just sit straight up. It is very common to sit on one hip as well. Another very common sitting guard position is to have one arm posted back and to have a lead arm posted forward. This positioning helps with movement and distance management. When you're grappling with your opponent, it's very important to keep a mindful effort to keep your shoulders over your knees as much as possible. You also want to pay attention to the inside position as well. The very important thing to understand is that your arms will disconnect from your body and it will happen often. But if you're aware of the inside position and you're aware that you should work to keep your elbows inside to prevent underhooks, then it'll make it much easier for you to defend your opponent's actions. Posting, movement, and positional awareness will help prevent underhooks, which then will make your position much stronger. Posting with an arm is highly utilized with sitting guard to help with gauging distance and distance management. As you utilize posting with your arm, you can post on your opponent's legs, shoulders, arms, and head to help you gauge distance and for movement management. Being able to scoot backwards effectively is very important when playing the sitting guard position. You will use this movement a lot to stop your opponent from closing the distance in on you. Pivoting on your backside will also be very common in regards to playing the sitting guard. By having this movement, you will be able to move smoothly from side to side. Pivoting is very useful in regards to keeping your opponent inside your guard playing zone. If you do not know how to pivot properly, your opponent may get past your guard playing zone and make things much harder for you. So having the ability to pivot properly is very important. Lateral scooting is another movement that is very important when it comes to playing sitting guard. When your opponent is trying to pass your guard by going around your sitting guard, using pivoting in combination with lateral scooting, posting, moving backwards, and other movements utilized with the sitting guard are going to help you keep your opponent inside your guard playing zone and play your game. The movement of scooting forward is also very important, so in that way you can stay in an attacking zone. The goal is to be offensive and not just defensive. Scooting forward helps you with this. Sometimes an aggressive opponent can overwhelm you and push you onto your back. A tool that I utilize to stop this is by coming up quickly to a knee and then sitting back down. So if my opponent is trying to overwhelm me, I come up to a knee very quickly and then I can sit right back down. So they come forward, I come up to a knee, and then I go back down. By utilizing proper scooting, posting, and distance management, you can make it easier to defend loose passes such as X passes and sliding knee cutters. You will also come across the occasional person who likes to do jump and cartwheel passes. So it's a good idea to know how to roll onto your side so that way you can defend these particular types of passes. You want to make sure that you protect your inside space. Ideally, you do not want to keep your elbows on the outside of your legs. By doing this, you're opening up opportunities for your opponent to get underhooks on you. If they establish underhooks on you, they can work better passes and they can also bring you flat to your back. If this happens, it's going to make things much harder for you. It's very important to protect against underhooks. One of the best and easiest ways to protect against underhooks against your opponent is to be aware of the inside space and keep your elbows on the inside. There will be moments when your elbows do end up disconnected from your body. However, if you are aware of this and you work on fighting against the underhooks by fighting the inside position, along with proper distance management, it's going to make things much better for you. You do not want to let your opponent get their head underneath your head. If this happens, they could bring you to your back and get a better position. Ideally, you should be fighting to have your head either below or at the same level of your opponent's head, so in that way it makes it much harder for them to get better position. However, always be aware of the fact that your opponent might try to snap you down and get on top and force you to a turtle position. That's not good for you. So as you are fighting for good head position, make sure you're prepared for your opponent to try to snap you down so you can defend those snap downs and continue playing your game. Knowing how to properly fight for inside leg position is an extremely important concept when playing sitting guard for an offensive and defensive approach against your opponent. Utilizing proper leg pummeling when your opponent is trying to force you into half guard is very useful. If your opponent forces you to half guard, they are much closer to then passing your guard. I know some people do like to play half guard, but you should be playing the half guard on your own terms and not your opponent's terms. And a similar concept, do not let your opponent split the middle when standing over you. When you do know how to properly fight for inside position, this can help you now get attacking positions such as shin guard. You could even work to get a single leg X or leg lock types of positions. So understanding that you should be working leg pummeling is very important. It also presents you with possible opportunities to get easy sweeps. For example, the dummy sweep is a very easy sweep just by working your inside leg pummeling and your inside position. Being able to circle your legs while scooting backwards is very effective in stopping your opponent from diving underneath your legs to get you in a double under position, which would then prevent them from working their passing game. Another common scenario that happens a lot is your opponent might try to dive to your hips. By utilizing a head push and the concept of resetting, you can work on defending this. It's important to understand that when you are working your grip fighting, you will be presented with opportunities to go for arm drags. You will also be presented with opportunities to snap your opponent down and work against them offensively. You don't want to just have a defensive mindset. You want to have an offensive mindset against your opponent. So when you're in your sitting guard and you're working your proper position, your shoulders are in the proper position, you're fighting for the inside space, you are working on distance management, along with working with grip fighting against your opponent, you should also be looking for offensive opportunities so then that way you can capitalize against your opponent and win. And also look for simple opportunities against your opponent. For example, this sweep is one I hit all the time. When your opponent grabs ankle control on you, you can pull their wrists and kick your legs out. And keep their wrists because it may present you with the opportunity to attack them with arm drags and other possibilities as well. It's definitely good to fight from your back, but you want to do it on your own terms and not your opponent's terms. Learning how to kick your legs up and scoot back at the same time will make it much harder for your opponent to lift your legs up to put you on your back. So you kick your legs up and scoot backwards at the same time. I'll also reset to my knee sometimes if I'm having trouble breaking the grip from my legs. Another thing to understand is that sitting guard is not the only piece of the puzzle. You should also know how to fight from your back. You should have good guard movement, good guard retention, and good attacking options when you are on your back as well. That way you can combine the sitting guard with playing guard on your back. Knowing how to go from sitting guard to on your back is important because ideally you want to go to your back on your own terms and not because your opponent puts you there. By having a strong guard on your back as well, you increase your tools and your arsenal against your opponent. And knowing how to go from being on your back to sitting guard is also good because in that way you can play the games interchangeably. In the future, we will also create a video on playing the guard on your back as well. Thank you for watching. For more details on these sitting guard concepts, plus additional sitting guard techniques and details, please visit the Grappler's Guide. For videos like this, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and click the bell icon to get notified. Thank you.